All right, it's Tuesday, May 13th, just following up on the SPY here. I did buy some put options here on this 2 up, 2 down red bar, and I've been watching it ever since. And now, coming to the end of the session, we finally, broke down a little bit as anticipated. Here's kind of the first. Well, first of all, when it came down a little bit after entry, it set up a little double bottom liquidity area here. So after that rally up here that couldn't go too far, it wanted to come down and take out that liquidity. And also the original one I was looking at, it just took this out here as we get to the close at this blue line. So I just scaled out of some of the options. I bought the 595 puts at 808 as described in the first video. I just sold some at 860, about 50 cents higher. And I'm deciding if I want to maybe hold on, even though we're in an up environment. I think tomorrow we could open a little lower into the range of today. But, the trend is still up. So either way, it's it didn't really collapse into the close. We're closing green here, so as long as we hold the midpoint of this day tomorrow, we could still be heading a little higher, but we have some exhaustion risk in play. And like I said, my big thing was after 3 pushes up today, I figured at this point, before really any momentum continues higher, we want to be first taking out liquidity, the downside, in various type of ways. So in this case, it didn't immediately follow through, but pretty high probability that there wasn't going to be continued momentum after 2 gaps up like this. And now here's the first kind of push down, takes out the internal liquidity it just set up on the first little move down here. And then there was also a pivot here, and there's actually one down here if it wanted to take it out really in a negative way towards the close. It doesn't look like we're going to get there. So we're closing pretty strong today, as kind of expected. But I also think we're in a kind of a moment here where we're taking out some liquidity first before we head higher. So that's kind of shifted a little bit of my thinking in terms of just how you want to play the upside. And certainly no actionable signal going into tomorrow to the upside. It's all just a momentum play at this point. If you want to have any trades, the better trades to the upside would be after downside failures of some kind. And now, after moving up for about 5-6 days in a row, we have to kind of wait for that. So we'll see what happens tomorrow, and for the rest of the week, I wouldn't be surprised if it maybe tries to fill in this gap. Who knows? But the trend is certainly up at the moment, and it's just a question: can you gauge momentum? There was certainly momentum out of the gates, and there was some good trading here for one couple of pushes up. But to me, once I saw 3 pushes up under the day, that's pretty rare, and that usually means it's going to settle into some kind of range. So at the close here, we're getting a little sell-off. That's fine. Doesn't mean much for tomorrow necessarily, but we'll see how tomorrow unfolds as well, given whatever the pre-market range is, and given however the opening price the first 15-minute bar forms and where things want to go. But it's a question of, like I said, how much exhaustion risk might be in play here for the short run to continue this uptrend. But certainly a way to go before we really, if you look at the weekly chart, we really have to get some kind of weekly failure and then a push lower to even begin thinking of the downside.